Hey everybody, it's Eric from EPAutos.com, your Libertarian car guy, and I'm out here on a pretty nasty day out in the woods of Southwest Virginia. Going to do a quick walk around of the 2016 Buick Enclave, which is the Buickized version of the Chevy Traverse and the GMC Acadia. They're all fundamentally the same vehicle. Chief differences being some exterior styling tweaks, and of course the price. The Buick is more expensive, but you get more stuff with it. It is a large three-row crossover SUV that competes against models like the Acura MDX and the Lincoln MKT, and it's also kind of a neat alternative to a full-sized SUV, something like the Chevy Suburban, which is physically larger on the outside, but really doesn't have that much more room on the inside. This is more manageable. It actually has, in the class, pretty much the most interior space. It is a bit bigger on the inside, and I guess one of the chief draws is that the back seat is not a crappy little jump seat that's useful for kids only. You can see that it's pretty much the same kind of seat as what you'd have up here. And also there isn't this hump that you'd find in something like the Suburban, because of course this is a front-wheel drive based vehicle, and so you don't have the big drive shaft tunnel, and you don't have the big lateral thing that would be in the floor to house the rear axle. So you can actually put adults back in the third row, and that's pretty nice. This particular model is fairly old, and that's probably its chief weakness relative to the rivals that are out there. This current generation is now about 8 years old, and they have a brand new model coming on deck for 2017, and GM has not released the specs for that. My suspicion is that one of the big improvements they're going to make is under the hood. This vehicle has a version of GM's 3.6 liter direct injected and variable valve timing equipped V6, and it's a really good engine. They use it in everything from the Camaro to several Cadillac models. In this particular iteration, though, it only makes 288 horsepower. In the Camaro, it makes 335. And this is a really heavy vehicle. This thing weighs close, what was it, close to 5,000 pounds with all-wheel drive. It's a beast. And as a result of that weight, it's fairly slow. It takes about 8.6 seconds to get to 60. And to give you some sense of that relative to the others, the Acura MDX gets there in the mid-low sixes, so it's much quicker. The other downside to it is that it doesn't get good gas mileage. In fact, it gets pretty horrible gas mileage. The all-wheel drive version of this thing actually gets slightly less gas mileage than the V8 powered Chevy Suburban. 16 in the city and 23 on the road, so it really sucks it down, which would be okay if it had, if it had some ass, as my country friends say, and got up and went when you hit the accelerator. Unfortunately, it doesn't. So I suspect that General Motors is either going to up the power output of the 3.6, or maybe they'll do something like Infiniti has done with the QX60, which has a hybrid powertrain, or possibly a diesel, as in the Audi Q7. That is, if diesels don't get completely crucified as a result of this VW debacle. Let's have a quick look inside. One of the differences between this and the Chevy and the GMC, of course, is the styling on the inside. It's got this nice kind of bathtubby looking thing, which is attractive enough. They've done a good job of keeping this thing pretty current, but it does show its age. And let me show you one thing where it does show its age, which is really surprising. This particular one is a loaded all-wheel drive Premier trim, so it's pushing 50,000 bucks. And look what I got. Looky here. It still has a physical manual key, and it has that. So that harkens back to the late Bush years when this vehicle first came out. Also, the LCD screen here, it's not hateful, but it's kind of small for a $50,000 vehicle. And it's another area where not just the Enclave, but the Acadia and the Traverse are also showing their age. Typically these days you'd have a display that's at least the size of this entire surround rather than just this little thing, but it's functional enough. Also, it's only got a 6-speed automatic. The MDX now has a 9-speed. So that's another area where it's just a little bit out of date. But this is still a very, very nice, plush, comfortable, large SUV or large crossover SUV that's a really good choice for families or people who just need that additional room but don't want to get something that's quite as monstrous as a Suburban. And the other thing you probably want to take into account if you're getting ready to go car shopping is that because there's an all-new 2017 version of this on deck, it's going to be out in a few months. In all likelihood, the dealers are going to be pretty eager to clear out the remaining inventory of these 2016 models. So probably you'll get a pretty good deal on the thing. The only downside, if it is a downside to you, and it may not be, is that this 2016 version of the Enclave is probably going to look pretty dated once the 2017 comes out with all the upgrades that it's going to have. So that's just something to take into account. Doesn't mean that this is not a nice driving, functional vehicle. It's just, it's an older vehicle, its gas mileage isn't particularly good, and it's not particularly quick. Anyway, the written review should be up on the site shortly. And I've also got a rant up there that I posted yesterday about if it saves even one life. You hear that bleat a lot from people who demand that the government require this or that safety feature. But interestingly, when the safety features that they mandate end up costing lives, they're strangely silent. So the rant that I've got up on the site, epautos.com, gets into that, and I hope you'll go there and take a look. And thanks for viewing, and we'll catch you next time.